People even read this.
What's going on, boys and girls? What's up, world? Austin John Plays here, and today we're going to be talking about the sequel to Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, basically being a lot of DLC. It's been only about one full week since the release of the E3 reveal of Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild's follow-up sequel. However, there's still some little tidbits of information that are coming out, and a lot more to expand upon. Kotaku reports Breath of the Wild is getting a sequel because the team had too many DLC ideas. Jason from Kotaku had a chance to sit down with Aonuma-san at E3 in Los Angeles, and they talked about the Link's Awakening remake. We're not talking about that. But then more importantly about Breath of the Wild sequel. And while he didn't answer a lot of the questions, supposedly because they're saving it for future announcements or next E3, they did talk quite a bit about the concept and the origin of Breath of the Wild sequel. One thing to note is that Aonuma-san's team is working on Breath of the Wild 2, while Grezzo, the people who did Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask, the 3DS versions, they're the ones taking control of Link's Awakening. Breath of the Wild 2 has a lot of high priority going on, as opposed to Link's Awakening that's handled by the remake team. What made you and the team decide to make a sequel to Breath of the Wild as opposed to a new Zelda game? Aonuma-san replied, "When we released DLC for Breath of the Wild, we realized that this is a great way to add more elements to this same world. But when it comes down to technical things, DLC is pretty much data. You're adding data to a pre-existing title, and so when we wanted to add bigger changes, DLC is not enough, and that's why we thought maybe a sequel would be a good fit." So the sequel was originally planned as DLC. Initially, we were thinking of DLC ideas, but then we had a lot of ideas and we said, this is too many ideas, let's just make a new game and start from scratch. We do have confirmation that Breath of the Wild 2 is going to be, and I quote, a direct sequel of Breath of the Wild. That would infer that it takes place after the events of the first Breath of the Wild. You free Zelda, you two now run around and do whatever Zelda said you were going to do at the end of the first game.
Although Ganon is gone for now, there is still so much more for us to do. I believe in my heart that if all of us work together, we can restore Hyrule to its former glory.
This makes me remember two actual quotes from the team way back before we got, I think it was DLC Pack 2. During the art masterclass held in Japan Expo event in France, Mr. Aonuma shared development footage of the Champion's Ballad, which will take place after beating Ganon in the main story in Breath of the Wild. But this makes so much sense now because they did talk about the idea of DLC being after Ganon, and maybe they weren't technically able to put that in, or it would require a lot of work for something that just seemed like so much content. They were better off making a second game, and now it's all making a lot of sense, isn't it? Yeah, a couple pieces of armor, some cutscenes, places you have to go. That's all fun and simple and easy to add into the current game, but from a gameplay perspective and an overall bigger picture, the game is structured that way. As soon as you defeat Ganon, then the game just brings you back to the last save point. Spoilers, nothing happens. And it allows you to play through the world, etc., etc. There's never actually post-game gameplay. Some games do have post-game gameplay, some of them do not. And this is one of those games that after you finish the world and everything else, there's never actually that completion. You're just brought back a little bit until right before you completed it. And there's a good chance that everything that they wanted to do here, they weren't able to do because, well, the game is designed to bring you from here back to here every single time. So having all of this gameplay that takes place after you defeat Ganon could have been reserved for DLC, or more likely, now we see Breath of the Wild 2. Also, some fun little hidden secrets and ideas, like someone was able to take Gerudo Sanskrit and figure out that these letters floating in the air say Seal Ganon, which is pretty ridiculous. All I know is I'm super excited for Breath of the Wild 2. I want to know what you think. Leave a comment down below. If you're new to the channel, be sure to subscribe, turn on notifications. We're still doing a giveaway for a Nintendo Switch worth $300 V-Shop credit, as well as a copy of Link's Awakening or Pokemon Sword or Shield. Check the link down below. Until next time, Austin John out.